Download.
Goeiedag, fijn dat je kijkt. Dit is Patricia meets Lifechangers. En ook vandaag heb ik weer een bijzondere gast bij mij in de studio. We gaan deze uitzending voortzetten in het Engels. Helaas geen ondertiteling, maar ik denk dat het helemaal goed gaat komen. Degene bij mij aan de tafel is de godfather van Sustainable Finance. Wie is hij en waar gaat het over? Zijn naam? Robert Rubinstein. Robert, thank you for being with us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, well, it was long on my list to finally interview you. So thank you for being here with us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So tell us, what is sustainable finance?
It's investment that generates a financial return for the investor and restores the social and environmental balance. So it's basically investment that benefits all stakeholders, the investor, society, and the environment.
So let's go to the beginning, because you build up this international organization. You give back a lot to the community all over the world. But was it always like that? Where are you from? Can we just go a little bit? Because we have a lot to talk about today, but I know a lot of viewers were like, who is Robert?
Well, I left I'm originally from New York. I grew up in New York, was born there, left after I finished university, and was just going to go traveling to Myanmar, 1974. It took me a lot longer to get to Myanmar, and I always liked Amsterdam as a base. I really felt comfortable here, so I kept it as a base. Was traveling through Europe and Asia, did a lot of different jobs. I worked on oil rigs in the North Sea, in Iran, pillow furniture. I started the first bicycle magazine in the Netherlands, and 2 other magazines. The bicycle magazine was it was a financial and spiritual success. The other 2 magazines were only spiritual success and financial disasters. But the last one, which was called Source, which was how to teach profits and principles, in 1995, that led me to launch TBLI, the Triple Bottom Line Investing Group, whose work is mainly to make the financial system work for everyone, not just the investor.
Yeah, can we look at that financial system?
Yeah.
Let's look at it.
So, it's very predictable. I mean,
yeah.
it's just
So what's really going on? What's different?
You mean from between sustainable finance and traditional? Well, sustainable finance intentionally tries to have investments that benefit multiple stakeholders. The investor gets their money for your pension or whatever, or you're saving for college or travel. And then also the investment should have a positive influence on the society and also on restoring the environment. Most investments don't do that. Most investments will either lose money or make money. And most investors traditionally didn't care because products never reflected their true cost. In a very simple way, a bicycle in the Netherlands has 21% sales tax. An airline ticket, no sales tax. Zero, worldwide.
Okay, let's go back. So the bike, there's no air pollution, there is only health
Terrible
benefits.
investment. It's a terrible investment because in 20 years you hardly have to do any maintenance. So as an investment, it's terrible. It's not going to generate a lot. But as a form of transport, it's spectacular. And there's 21% sales tax. In some countries, 25%. An airline ticket, no sales tax. And kerosene for the airlines, no tax on that. So how do you compare or invest in things where the product really doesn't reflect its true cost? That's been the challenge that we've had. So it's only because people wanted to invest in things. We should not be investing in things that are making society and the environment worse, which is what we've done. which is why we have all of these problems of climate change, air pollution, food toxicity, plastic in the ocean, all of these elements. It didn't happen out of the blue. And as long as people keep investing for only short-term gain, you'll keep getting this. What's the great investment? Drug smuggling, people smuggling, weapon smuggling. You're making nice returns, but you are having a negative influence on society. And as people started to understand, if they want to have a financial return and a social environmental added value, they can. If they don't want to, that's okay. The problem, what it's created, is now ESG, or environmental social governance, or sustainable finance, or impact investing, is now the flavor of the month. But what it's become is it's become a membership card to a fitness club, telling everybody you have the membership card, but you never go.
Okay.
That's what it is at the moment, unfortunately, with some exceptions.
So when you started this, where you're working on right now, how did that go for you? Because was it just that you looked at the financial system and you thought, okay, I need to do something different? Or because it couldn't have been easy for you as well?
No. It was incredibly hard. Everybody thought in
Yeah,
Europe,
because I'm just wondering.
They all gave us a big hug. Thank you for doing this. Not at all. Not at all. It was very, very, very hard. And basically, the reason why I chose finance at the time, when the investors pulled the plug while we were on holiday, I still wanted to create an economy based on well-being. So I figured I needed to get the business community on board.
Okay.
And they would only do that if they felt excruciating pain continuing the direction they're going. So we'll go, well, how do I increase that pain? And what are the pain buttons? So the pain buttons for business, which is still the same, is finance, personnel, reputation.
Yeah.
Which ones can I influence with no money, no resources, no nothing, working under my son's bed with an old computer? So reputation, too complex. It's very hard even for NGOs to do that. Personnel, I taught at the Rotterdam School of Management, trying to get through to students. If you want to change companies, refuse to work for them when they come to recruit you. Most of the students didn't do that, and they just were worried about student loans. Then I looked at finance. This was 1996, 97. Who had all the money at that time? So the Japanese pension fund, AXA, Allianz, big insurance companies, etc. So I looked at the top 100 and I added it up and said, oh, wow, they have about 20-25% control of all of the money in the world, directly or indirectly. And I figured, hey, I only have to convince 100 guys, because there were only men at CIOs. And that was how we started TBLI, originally as a conference convener to educate asset owners and managers, because there is no group more predictable than the financial sector. It's just a bunch of alpha males who run up the hill and jump off the cliff at the same time, and they're all overpaid by a factor of 4 and underperform at a factor of 4. If anyone has any doubts about that, remember when the financial crisis happened? Hundreds of thousands of people were fired.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands of people in the finance sector were fired. Did the financial sector get smaller? Nope.
No.
It got bigger. So what did they do? They didn't add any value. And that should have been a signal, hey, these guys are making all this money. What do they actually do? And, as you start to dig in and you see that, and what are the triggers to get people involved, I saw, it's not really hard to get behavioral change. The challenge is not the convincing. It's very easy. The challenge is access. The more money someone has, the more isolated they are. Bezos, or the woman who has the most shares at Heineken, they don't have signs on the side of their home, hi, I have billions, come visit me. That's the challenge. But the convincing, if you ask anyone, do you want a financial return with a social environmental added value? No one will say to you, no, Patricia, I want all my money to make life miserable for everyone, and I'm working at 24/7. They don't think like it's always been about education. So we've always focused on education. We don't manage money because I don't want to be conflicted, and we can speak our radical truth.
Yeah. Yeah, speak a radical truth about that. We're just going to talk about that as soon as possible. So, again, because for me, you are one of the major life changers. So, this idea came into you. You've been working on it on your computer with people from all over the world with so much money. And then, how did it grow from
Well,
there on?
we were lucky because we were the first to do big international summits in Europe, Asia, Latin America, North America. We did 40 international summits with a small team. We were one of the few doing that. So everybody was eager because it was a time when people were learning about so-called extra financial risk. So we had lots and lots of people, lots of money was being thrown at us. It was financially doing really well. We could hire the best caterers in Paris until the financial crisis, and then that was over. Because if you were not fired at the ABN or Rabo or anywhere or any asset manager, the last thing you want to do is, hey, I think we should sponsor TBLI. What was your name again? So we lost 95% of our revenue and had to figure out how do we keep going, how do we keep this educational thing. Then we were able to figure that out, keep it going, and then COVID hit, and they had to stop and shift to a virtual system. So we had to be quite creative in continuing doing the work. The story has never changed. I don't think I've had one single concrete, intelligent reason or question from a financial institution why they shouldn't do this. In 25 years, we've been doing this 25, close to 30 years, which that surprised me. I said, there must be somebody with a real reason why shouldn't this happen. So once you really start to understand the financial sector, and you must speak in their language, you must align with the three buttons that resonate with them, because the mistake that NGOs and many make, they started shouting loudly in Mandarin to someone who speaks German. The financial sector speaks a certain language worldwide. And unless you align with those things, self-interest, opportunity, money flows, you won't get through. So we've always focused on those three things. And ultimately, as more and more people say, hey, okay, I understand what you're doing. It's a professional way of looking at all the risks. And that became more popular, and the pension funds starting to see that it's a risk not looking at this. Unfortunately, it became more about risk and not about outcome.
Okay.
And that's a bit where we are now. And there is a little bit more shift, that people are more an outcome, but it's still in the phase of everyone showing their membership card to the fitness club and not going, not doing the work.
Yeah. And for you, when COVID hit, everything went online. Was that good or not good? Because then you can really go international. Or did you go international already?
We were already very international. We were doing it in Hong Kong, Singapore, Beijing, Japan, Thailand, Germany, France, the Netherlands, UK, all the Nordics, the US. So we were doing that already. The advantage of virtual is less traveling, which is exhausting. Standing on your feet for 2 or 3 days at a conference, you're killing. So, and it became easier and also cost effective. We could do summits online. We could do master classes online. We could do podcasts online. We could do virtual mixers online. So it became easier. You didn't need to have a lot of money. It didn't need a lot of resources. And it was less tiring, and we got more clients, many of whom I've never met. I mean, face to face.
Yeah. You also you did some amazing podcasts. Are you still doing that? Huh?
Yeah, every week.
But sometimes you have really big people from really big companies. Then I'm looking. I'm like, Robert, you just sent them an email and say, "Can I interview you?"
I mean, some of the very big ones. The only thing is, well, you don't have enough listeners, so I'm not interested. So you get that also. Simon Sinek or some of the other big names. They only want publicity for themselves.
Okay.
They're not interested in education. But many others who are willing to share. But we don't accept sponsors. So at all, there's no sponsors on our website. There's no sponsors on our weekly that goes to 70,000 people. There's no sponsors in the podcast, mainly because we want open, critical thought and not worried, well, is this going to embarrass a sponsor? Like
So
here.
that makes it really pure.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah,
that
and
you
people
say
can
that.
say what
Yeah.
what they like.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about embarrassing someone. And we try to bring people that are doing and not just chatting about
Yeah.
it. Because the ones really doing the most in sustainability and sustainable finance, they talk the least. And the
But
ones
isn't that
doing,
with everything?
yeah, but it's just that they get better press coverage, particularly during the World Economic Forum. They all put out these press releases about everything we're doing, and people stupidly process the press releases, but nobody asks, are you really going to do that in 30 years? And how do we know you're going to achieve that?
Yeah.
So there's not enough pushback, and we're one of the few will say, I'm sorry, Patricia, but your children are ugly. And tell them, no, I don't believe you. And I remember there was a big Dutch pension fund who announced we're going to do 30 billion in impact investing. And I called the guy. I said, I don't believe you because I've heard this story for years. And then he walked me through everything they were doing, and I really was very impressed that they were serious about it. And for me, I don't care if someone doesn't want to do it. I'm just tired of the people that keep talking about it and are not doing it. And it's a very simple fix. You want to do it, fine. You don't want to do it, also fine. But just stop pretending that you're doing something because you want to be hanging out with the cool club, the ESG cool kids.
Yeah, or you say you want to change the world, but you fly with your private jet.
Yeah, or worse. There's been Bloomberg claims there's $50 trillion going into ESG or environmental social governance. If there was 50 trillion going into there, we'd have no problem with society or the environment or climate change. So it's not going in, or it's a definitional issue. A year and a half ago, we launched the first open database of all the different methodologies to measure sustainability. And we had 44 independent companies presenting. Everyone can access it on our website. All of the big, well-funded organizations, the PRI, the Principal Responsible Investing, Carbon Disclosure Project, World Benchmark Alliance, B Corp, S&P, MSCI, all EcoVadis, all refused to participate because they didn't want comparability. So you're still dealing with that because those mostly in the same finance, particularly the big finance institutions, they just see it as a new product. They're not mission driven. And that's okay. But stop pretending that you're Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
It's a product for you.
Yeah.
And your product is really not fixing anything. Climate tech is not fixing anything. It was an announcement this week that Climeworks, it's a machine that sucks CO2 out of the air.
Yeah.
In Switzerland, Iceland. Last week, 2 weeks ago, they admitted that it produces more CO2 than they actually suck out. They raised another 170 million and over $1 billion. And I said to them, none of your climate garbage is going to impact climate. Just call yourself a unicorn chaser. What you're doing is you're taking a shot glass to the North Sea, scooping up a glass and say you're going to move it a glass at a time. And you think you're going to actually impact climate. The only thing that works is restoring biodiversity. So they will create IPOs, they will create financial return, but they're not impacting climate.
Okay. So radical change?
Radical truth.
Radical truth.
Truth, yeah.
What's up? Tell me, what is it?
So I finally got my book done about kind of a tell-all in the style of George Carlin, who's a comedian, of how does the financial system actually work?
Yeah.
About business schools, philanthrocapitalists, impact networks, asset managers, strategy consultants, sovereign debt, all of the things that people use with these big words, and making it very simple or nonsensical innovation. We have to have constant innovation. Before, our coffee was not good enough. Now we have artisanal coffee from weasels in the Amazon brought down with vegetarian donkeys on a ship that's run on sails, and that's $20 for a coffee because that's an experience for you. So it's very much about how society is functioning or not, but very focused on the financial sector and how it's easily fixed if people want to. And I think many, many people are just hungry for a quality of life that's not just based on a quantity of life. We have enough stuff. We have enough junk.
Everybody has enough,
Yeah.
almost, you know, like in stuff, because we're always, you know, if in Holland you have the kringloop, you know, it's like, so you go there, it's like they have so many things. It's, if you go around your own house, it's amazing.
And
But we
people
have
just don't
stuff.
question. Yeah.
But don't you think that people have only materialistic, but in their mind, it's like it's getting less and less. It's like sometimes
Sure.
they're like vain, like there's nothing in the mind.
I mean, their drug is social media.
Yeah.
So they have to constantly be looking on social media to get the dopamine fix, but they have no relationship with other people. Where we used to, when we grew up in Brooklyn, we'd hang out on the stoop, and you know, we'd be playing outside, and we'd play games, and we would interact with people. People are more and more alienated than ever, even though they have much more choices of supposedly connecting with everyone. Everyone said the internet is going to democratize everything. No, it's concentrated the wealth and power in a few hands. And people are seeing that. You know, they're not quite sure what is different about it, other than they're angry. They're angry at vaccination, they're angry at immigrants, they're angry at politicians, they're angry at this or that. So they have to vent their frustration, and certain populists take advantage of that, but they never really deliver. But Trump is a great example of someone who didn't create this. He gave it a voice. It was always there. I felt that growing up in America. Problem with Trump is a wrestler, and everybody's trying to do boxing with him. But he's a wrestler. He's a street wrestler. And he knows exactly, and the American educational system is based on local property taxes. So if you have poor community, you have bad schools. That's what he counts on. A lot of people not voting, and also ignorant people. And he feeds off of that.
Yeah.
But at a certain time, people see, hey, you're not delivering. You're not delivering on it. You promised my life is not improved. So everyone in one way is unhappy with their present situation and feeling alienated. But it's quite easy to resolve if they want to. And, you know, people think dying rich is a great accomplishment. No, it's not a great accomplishment. And there's a beautiful quote from one of my favorite movies, Citizen Kane. And he was Bernstein was being interviewed by the journalist, and he said to him about Walter Thatcher. And Bernstein, Walter Thatcher, he was the biggest darned fool I ever met. And the journalist said, yeah, but he made a lot of money. And Bernstein said, well, it's no trick to make a lot of money if that's all you want to do is make a lot of money. It's not hard to do if that's all you want. If you want purpose, it's a bit harder.
That's yeah.
And that's what we try to do.
Yeah, I talked to you before, and I said a lot of times what I do is people that are really rich, then I ask them, oh, so how many people do you support? So what kind of change do you make in the world now that you have all this money? And then they look at me like, okay. That's, yeah, and I shouldn't that be, you know, it's like you hear the stories of old ladies that are so rich, and they're only the lonely in their castle.
Correct.
They have nobody, and it's like, I don't know.
And
But what is that, greed? What is
so
it?
I mean, there's 5 times more wealth than global GDP, than global brutto national product. So there's €5 chasing €1, which is shocking when people think about it. So if the wealthy would pay their taxes, the result would be the government debt would go down and the stock market would go up. So in the end, it wouldn't have cost them very much. And as long as products don't reflect their true cost, it's going to be a challenge. But the solutions are there, but there's this hebzucht, this massive greed of wealthy who create all kinds of legal constructions, and they're lobbying government policymakers to make the law that they can do that. It's just ridiculous, because it's not a society where the air you cannot breathe doesn't help anyone. It's in their interest to have a healthy society and not just a society for the uber elite.
Yeah, because you've been working on this for so many years. You are, for me, really one of the anchors of a changer. You know, you've been going on the barrier. It's not just talking about it, really doing something about it. So, again, thank you for that. And, you know, Robert, for many, many years, I've been wondering, you know, even in Holland, you see all the politic leaders, they promise everything. And at the end of the road, we had the NAVO, you know, over here, the big meeting. And then I am just really simple person living in Amsterdam. I'm now like, why can't just everybody sit on a table and say, okay, enough is enough. Let's go for peace. Let's go for, let's just make the world a better place. But I think maybe that's my unicorn.
Well, I mean,
you know.
It for them, for the politicians, I'm not giving them a pass, but the politicians want to stay in power. So if I say to you, you know, we're going to start charging VAT on airline tickets and tax on kerosene, and it's not going to be €20 to go with EasyJet to London. It's going to maybe €100 or more. And by the way, vote for me. So they want to stay in power, and doing the difficult things that will hurt certain, they avoid. So they take the salami approach. We slice off just a thin piece, nobody knows it's missing. And they know what needs to be done. It's not, you know, we're not saying anything of nuclear fusion at room temperature. It's easily done. Switzerland is working on a brilliant idea of taxing for all CO2 emissions every product, whether you import it or that money would go into a big pile, and that money would be divided by everyone in the country. So if you're a carbon intensive rich person, you pay a lot. If you're a carbon intensive poor person, you don't pay very much, and you make money on that. And we'll see if they get it done. I mean, solutions are simple if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's okay, but just stop talking about it.
Stop talking about it. We're not going to stop talking about your book, Radical Honesty. When is it?
Radical Truth.
It feels like Radical Honesty.
Yeah,
sorry,
well,
I'm sorry.
It's finished. My brother is finishing editing it, and then we can start with the marketing and distribution.
Okay, so it's going to be in.
I hope probably this year. I think Q4. I think we're nearly there, and it was fun. And every week I publish an edited chapter on social media so people can get an idea.
Robert Rubinstein. You know, 30 minutes is not enough with somebody like you, but it's a good start. So when the book is in the stores, can you please come back?
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's talk a little
Thank
bit
you
more.
so much for doing, and also for doing this show.
Thank you. So.
My pleasure.
Ja, nou, ik hoop dat u het hebt kunnen volgen. Ik zorg dat alle gegevens ook van Robert op de website van Salto te staan komen en ook op mijn eigen website. Ik zou zeggen, kijk er nog eens naar, want het is heel interessant. En misschien ook wel voor jou, want een verschil maken in de wereld. Wat mij betreft zijn we allemaal lifechangers. Ik wil u en jou bedanken voor het kijken. Volgende week heb ik een nieuwe lifechanger hier bij mij in de studio. Ik wens je een fijne dag. Tot snel. Dag.